All right.
We'll open this meeting of May 8th, 2014. Let the record show that Selectman Jessamine is not present tonight. Selectman Scanlon is on his way. Okay. We have major changes in our agenda, last-minute emergencies and so on, so,
Skip the minutes.
where's Joyce?
She was just there.
She's coming up?
She'll be right back.
All right, we'll take the minutes first, then. All right. Make a motion, we put the minutes of 4:24 to the floor for the table for discussion.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Did Judy Tilton speak to Joe Kenny about the roads? Was it Judy Tilton? I don't remember that.
She was at an event and ran into him there.
Okay. Very nice conversation with him.
Well, she's the chairman of the road committee. Hey.
Hi, John. We have a couple of changes in the agenda, John.
Okay.
The Winnipesaukee Trail is here to see us. Also, at between 6 and 6:15, we will be going into a non-public session as the county attorney will be here.
Okay.
We're doing minutes right now, we just opened it for discussion, so not 4:24.
Oh, that's hilarious. That's 4G for you.
On the front page, second sentence from the bottom, keeping should be keep. This will help keep people from parking along. On page 4, second paragraph from the bottom, I believe the property with the trees hanging over it is Mr. Sanborn.
Yes. What does she have here? I
That's
haven't
why I
seen
just
it.
watched a movie with Mr. Sandler in it last night.
Yeah, I had a question on that.
I figured you did. On page 5, the first paragraph that begins with Joyce about Avatar and their assessing. Can we include a sentence in there? Because the bottom line was, and that's what I was trying to get at, they don't go out and check every single property, like when we had Vision do it. And I've had so many people ask me that in the past couple months. But I'd like it to reflect it in the minutes. Does anybody mind if we add that? It was in the discussion, and it was the conclusion.
I'm fine with that.
On page 6, the second sentence, just add a T to he.
I see that.
And another question on page 7. Did we get Mr. Phillips involved in Packer Brook? Who's Mr. Phillips?
I can't hear you, what?
Who's Mr. Phillips as it pertains to Packer Brook?
He's the one that resides at 14 Prospect Street that's being flooded.
Oh, for some reason, that isn't the name I associated with
I
it.
thought it was
Thank you.
Brooks. I thought the name was Brooks.
Packer Brook?
No,
Oh, his name was Brook? No.
the
he-
attorney was
Oh, the attorney is Zimmerman.
Zimmerman.
Ann-
Zimmerman, okay.
That is not the name I associated with that person. And another question. The conversation about the dog for the police department, have you started fundraising? Or are you going to have a conversation with the Board of Selectmen first?
Yeah, no, we were gonna come in and actually get it on the agenda, so we haven't yet.
Okay. Do you have an officer? I understand having a dog is, one of the officers has to commit to basically caring for the dog. Do we have an officer that's agreed to do that?
Yeah, and he's actually been kind of doing all the research and legwork on it, so I told him,
Same one?
yeah, oh, no, a different one.
Different one?
Different one, yeah.
Okay.
So I told him what I'd do is get on the agenda and have him come in and do a presentation for you, because he'd be able to answer a lot of the questions, and he's pretty passionate about it.
How many dogs are there in the surrounding communities? How many of them have dogs?
Franklin, Laconia, Guilford, and Plymouth.
Samberton,
That's not many.
they don't have one now?
No. Yeah, and Franklin's won't be up and running, I don't think, until the end of the summer, early fall.
They don't come ready, huh?
No.
There's training that
You
goes with
can
it?
get them, but it's
Can get them
thousands of
ready.
dollars.
Yeah.
Oh,
Do you have any?
interesting.
Probably better to train them yourself anyways.
I just,
The majority of the people feel that
They
way.
train 'em
And plus, you
themselves.
pay a lot of money for them already trained,
Thousands of dollars.
thousands. Yeah, but there's a grant out there that actually pays for the cost of the dog. That's the same grant that Franklin used.
what are the primary breeds of dogs that are used for that?
Shepherd
Shepherd and Belgium.
in Belgium, right.
Are the two.
No bloodhounds?
You
With
can
those
get
noses?
bloodhounds too, yeah.
I think you should get a bloodhound. Those are wicked cool.
Yeah.
Make a motion, we accept the minutes of April 24th.
Second. Is there any more discussion? All those in favor?
Hi.
Aye.
Aye.
Make a motion, we bring May 1st minutes to the table for the discussion.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Right.
Do you know where there are rocks also? Up there at the Tilton School. Did you see all the big pile of the big rocks?
I did.
Well, where they're working on the field?
Yeah.
Your
I went and,
place
when I
last
drove
week.
up and looked at the road.
Nice road, huh?
Whoa. Well, Dennis has got before and after pictures. Did you look at Pillsbury Street?
Yeah. Oh, on the rough side there.
Well, I think that if you work a deal, they would even deliver them.
Yeah, understand. He said, I'm gonna have to go back and listen to it. Listen to it, because so if they ask, I'll say, you know what, just take that out. I mean, there was such a big deal made out of it.
Wow. Is this real? Do we actually have a reporter in town?
I have my name tag in case you forgot who it was.
Wow. Whew. Nice to see you.
Thank you. Pleasure to be here.
Is there any more information on the logger?
The Conservation Commission is all set. They don't feel they need to meet with them because of the presentation that Jane Alden and I made. And the planning board will be meeting Tuesday night, so they'll deal with the permit.
Oh, good.
He, before he logs, he has to have his forestry notification, consent posted, the intent to cut posted, and our permit posted.
On page 4, you have Sandler again, for its, instead of Sanborn.
On page 2, the discussion about the recycling committee. What is that, the third sentence? There was also discussion. Those were not ideas from the recycling committee, those were just suggestions from me. So I don't want it to indicate that they, I sent it to them, but those didn't come out of the conversation from them. And then down in the next paragraph, if the recycling committee is willing to be involved in this as well, it might be the perfect seaway. Is that what he said? Or Sedgway?
Maybe segue.
Sedgway, I think.
Segue.
Segue.
Although Joe can be very colorful with his life.
I think on that same paragraph, Joyce brought up that I am the Energy Committee, right?
Yes.
Which,
Yeah, you're the chair of the Energy Committee.
of the Energy Committee.
Yeah, that was misstated. You remember Joe corrected himself afterwards? Yeah,
So I'm confused now.
Joe,
Who was on the Energy Committee? The ex officio.
That would be
I
me.
mean, the Recycling Committee.
Joe.
Joe.
Joe,
Joe is recycling.
Joe's,
And John is energy.
Energy. Yeah.
right.
Okay. And then if they're combined, we'll have to figure that out later.
Well, one will be the alternate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm the alternate now on recycling.
I have to show you after. My wife liked it again.
don't think this is an accurate. Selectman Dawson said that on page, bottom of 4 and 5, talking about the amnesty week. Selectman Dawson said the problem with Dennis collecting electronics during amnesty week is...
4 and 5?
Oh, never mind. I'm on the wrong one. I just had the other one and I put it down. I should have said that was...
On page 5, the invasive species is not bamboo, although I nickname it Yankee bamboo. It's Japanese knotweed.
That's what Selectman Jessman said.
Yeah, he did say that, and I think
It's
John
not
Scanlon said it as well.
Nicknamed,
Yeah.
Bamboo.
referred to as.
It's actually Japanese knotweed. I mean, we call it bamboo, I call it Yankee bamboo, but it's not. It's not even related to the bamboo family. It has a lot of medicinal qualities.
On page 6, when we were talking about the cruiser, John had asked if we could take as much out of the detail fund as possible on the cruiser, and the board agreed with this. I would really like that to be elaborated on, and that's what we've done in the past. I think that's what we said, that's
what...
been our past practice.
I'll make a motion to accept the minutes of May 1st as amended.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Joyce, I have a letter. There's no sense for me to even read this out aloud. All it is a letter from a TNT electrical contractor you put it in your file for
I keep it.
electrical contractors, so if we have any work, they can be contacted.
I didn't know if that was, because it was addressed directly to you. I wanted to make sure you saw that.
Okay, thank you. Do you have a copy of it, or you have to keep this one? Put in the FYI. You want to read it? Anybody? It's just telling them who they
Just the
are.
soliciting, right?
That's it, soliciting.
List of electricians.
Okay, we're going to skip over reports from selectmen. We're going to jumble our crazy schedule tonight. It's taken a turn for the worse here.
So we're going to do town administrator then?
So we're going to do a town administrator, but she's giving up some of that time to the Winnipesaukee River Trail, so come on up.
Do you want me to continue on after?
Yes, please, yep. Until 5:30.
One of the reasons I've asked Rick and Eliza to come from they're on the board of directors of the Winnipesaukee River Trail Association, is things are starting to move fast and furious, so they'll give you an update on where we are with we look at, we call it leverage. Your project in Northfield is leverage for our project here with EPA. Also, as part of this fast track, there are some New Hampshire DES trails notification forms that need to be submitted. This is a new process, so that for trails, that you don't have to file wetlands permits and dredge permits and all that, just for putting in reworking some drainage swales and putting in a culvert in the railroad right-of-way. So there are 6 copies here that will need to be signed by the board. Copies go to the New Hampshire DES Bureau of Trails, I'm sorry, New Hampshire DRED Bureau of Trails, the Winnipesaukee River Trail Association, the town of Northfield is doing the same, and the town of Northfield, and the town of Tilton. And there is a $25 check payable to the treasurer, which will be covered by a member of the Winnipesaukee Trails Association, paying that, not the town. So we've marked, and I want to show you on the plans what those are referencing. There's 6 copies there, so if you want to spread them out.
Then we won't know who signed what.
Well, there's only one little space. I had asked the engineer who signs that, who prepared them, and she said, usually the town administrator, the town manager, and I said, no, our board signs all the documents, so you'll just have to
Wait a minute.
sign. That's a DES form, it's not. This had all the alternate plans that was okay. This is reconstruct existing drainage swale. This is the one from that road. We don't have smaller ones of these, do we?
Right.
This is his only set. I have to get this back. And the other one, these are both in the railroad right-of-way.
Where is the rail-side drainage swale and the realignment of the rail-side drainage swale? Is that in Tilton or Northfield?
Yeah. This is all Tilton.
So there's the Knapp Road crossing in there.
Okay, so
Right there.
Yeah, and here's the 48.
where is it located?
So this would be right behind the houses on Main Road, just a little bit to the east of
That's
the
the
old
pipe,
Hern's
and that's the
property.
drainage swale.
So it's within the railroad right-of-way, and it's on the route of where the new trail is going to go.
It's in the railroad right away,
Railroad right-of-way entirely.
so this is not going to disturb anything else?
No. And there's a drainage swale there now, but in order to put in the trail, the existing drainage swale needs to be moved a couple of feet to accommodate the width of the trail that's required.
Who maintains that drainage swale?
The railroad does,
Okay, so you're going to be doing work for them, that's going to benefit them?
yes. There's been a lot of that on this project.
Yeah, that just seems wrong.
Yes, here is,
That's
this
the
is
state of
Knapp
Hampshire.
Road.
Yeah,
Okay.
Right
the
now,
other-
this is, the existing trail right now stops at Dick Mears. So it continues along
that's-
Dick
I
Mears.
think that's on the page before, Joyce.
Okay, and they're going to remove the Dick Meir one, because that's always been a temporary crossing, and they're going to cross over at Knapp Road.
Organization or club says Northfield, but that's because they are the top of the
This
pyramid.
is reconstruct existing drainage swale here, and this is a 48-foot culvert. Do you see
Okay.
that right here?
Yeah, I'm familiar with that. Curious, this is,
See the trail, this is where the trail comes out onto the Ernie's piece and then crosses over onto the Salmon, Falls piece. We still have to call Ernie's until such time as our EP8 grant is closed out.
Name's probably going to stick for quite a while.
I hope not. It'll make Joe happy, Joe Jessman happy when we no longer say Ernest.
Who's NP?
That's Nicole, the woman from Quantum, Nikki, who's the engineer
The
that...
property owner or applicant's initials and signatures are required below.
She's the one that,
Organization or club, applicant, Glenn Smith.
well, the town of Northfield is the project manager for the project, but it's located in...
Yeah, but this says the property owner or applicant's initials, and she's neither, according to this document.
She's the one that filled out...
I'm going to sign it, because it doesn't make a difference to me, but I'm just pointing out
Is
that,
that part of all the applications?
Yes, it's like that on all of them.
just,
That's why I took them out all.
you know, might come back.
Technicalities.
Does that have any effect on the sewer line? Do they have to get notified, or?
No. If you look at that plan and the next page, it shows the sewer line is very
Is the trail going over any part of the sewer right away?
I'll take that. They get it, because I'll never get it.
The
excuse me, yes.
400,000.
cross,
There's
perpendicular.
one small piece,
I ain't signing that one.
trail will cross over the top of the sewer line.
So the sewer department should be notified.
They were.
They were.
Our sewer department or the
Not,
Winnipesaukee
it's the
River Basin?
Winnipesaukee River Basin
So it's the main
pipe that
interceptor.
goes over.
You can see with the, right there. There's a little crossing.
This plan shows where the sewer is located.
But if it's the Winnipesaukee River Basin that it goes over, would our sewer department need to be notified? Because don't they cover some of that
No,
at all?
no, on their sewer lines, they would.
They would?
And there is a sewer easement on the Ernie's piece.
Okay.
Yeah, right, it's hard to see, but see the shaded line, that's the sewer. The Winnipesaukee
Okay,
River Basin.
got you. Yeah.
That crosses, it's buried 8 feet deep there.
How deep?
Okay, this one.
8 feet? No.
The top of it's 8 feet, the bottom of it's about 12 feet.
So a good question, though, that you bring up is at what point is this all Winnipesaukee sewer basin, or is any of this
Rather than
Tilton
that.
sewer? Because Tilton sewer, I know, has an easement through there.
That's a different interceptor.
That's a different interceptor,
Yeah,
okay.
and it's-
It's further down, right? Morrison.
Does
I
Knapp,
didn't see a map on this one.
does Knapp Road tie in to that sewer? or-
See this map?
I don't think they're open.
I'll make sure they're all... They gave you the envelopes too. And one of the things that, today, has anyone contacted the owners of that road?
Not yet. We need some hurdles first before we...
Okay. So that's my part.
Okay, what we can do is give you, sort of fill in the blank between where we were here last and what's transpired and where we are now. So, when we saw you last time, we were still preparing the application to bring to town meeting and to send to the Department of Transportation, because we had approval from the Department of Transportation for enough grant money to apply for Phase 2A in several parts. And the way it was written, there were several options, and those are the ones shown on this plan, so that we could do, depending on what was approved by the state, either north of the sewer, of the railroad or south of the railroad. So the first piece was, they determined that the Department of Transportation, that they wanted us to be on the south side of the railroad tracks. So that was the last time we met with you. We explained that that's where we were, and that we would be talking with the abutters, but that no part of the trail is going to go on the private property. All contained within the sewer line. But we will need a temporary easement during construction that we do need to talk with the abutters about. And that will come as soon as we have one more piece of approval from the state. Then, that plan,
Where would that be? Which,
right where it parallels Knapp Road,
okay, I got you.
and where it parallels the Riverside Drive, where it turns. So the trail is between Riverside Drive and the railroad tracks. And in that location, during construction, the construction companies would want to access Riverside Drive to bring their vehicles in. If the abutters say no, we can still build it, but it means they'll always be backing the truck up from the railroad right-of-way from Ernie's across Knapp Road, where the entire piece of Knapp Road by the railroad crossing is railroad right-of-way. So they'd be going out of Ernie's, down like that, and back like that. So either way, it'll get done. We're going to try to go and talk with them, and there's money that we could offer them during the construction process for the construction easement. The way the federal rules are now written, the project has to offer, and they have to basically accept. They can't say no, they don't want to get paid for it. If they wanted to, they could say, you can pay us and then we'll donate the money to someplace else. But the federal project now says people have to be compensated for easements.
For construction easements.
For any kind of easements. Construction easements or permanent easements. But we're not looking for any permanent easements. So where that went to at that point was we prepared the package for town meeting in Northfield, because that was the new state requirement. That was not a requirement for previous phases. And it appeared on the warrant article and said up to $1,065,000, of which we had federal grant money for the large majority, and there was $212,000 required from the Winnipesaukee River Trails Association for match. The item was discussed, and the concern that was expressed during the meeting was that we were $84,000 shy of the total 20% match that we needed at that point in time. And we indicated that we had $128,000, that we needed to raise the other $84,000. What we were hoping was that we would get approval to proceed and have that other year and a half, essentially, to raise the $84,000. An amendment was made during the town meeting that they would like to see us have some kind of a promissory note or loan in hand before the papers were all signed to proceed, before we could go ahead and start the process. We did seek a loan from several places. We looked for possible grants, and there just wasn't anybody that was willing to grant us that, because essentially we don't have any collateral. We don't own anything at this point. So we went back, we talked with the select board, and we explained that and said that what we would like to do is proceed at this point with just the trail portion. Because the way it was presented, there was the option to do just the trail and/or the bridge. And because we didn't have enough money, we had talked with the Department of Transportation about whether we could just do the bridge, and they said absolutely not, because it would mean the bridge to nowhere. And that has some negative connotations. The intent is certainly to try to build the bridge eventually. But because of that difference in the amount of money we had for match, and when Northfield Select Board said they wanted to have it visible, we had to go forward with another option. So I won't bore you with all the other details, but we did reach a compromise that said we would go forward, and Northfield has approved that we would go forward with just the trail portion, which actually means that this next phase of project, in terms of anything that's construction, is actually all in Tilton. So we'd be coming from Mayors, down along the railroad right-of-way, cross over into Ernie's, and go exactly where we said we would, as if we were building the bridge. Instead of turning left and going onto a bridge and across the river, we would be turning right in front of Ken Norton's house, and coming across the road onto Route 3. some months back, when we were looking at what were the possible options that we could include in the proposal to the Department of Transportation, not knowing whether they were going to have enough money at the Department of Transportation and for us to build trail and bridge, we did offer that option that we could conceivably just do trail and then cross the road. And at that point, Department of Transportation didn't want to talk to us about a crossing. They said, oh, it's going to be temporary, you probably don't need it, we don't need to talk about it. Jump ahead, we got the approvals from the town, we signed all the documents. We actually gave the town of Northfield a check for the amount of match to build that phase, $98,520. We handed them the check so that they were absolutely assured that they wouldn't have to put up any town money to build that piece of trail. So that got us to a good point where everyone seemed to be copacetic. And then the Department of Transportation, not the people from Trails Bureau that we had been working with, but the people from Highway, said, we want to have a meeting to review all this on site because now we think we really need a special crossing. Because this transportation project on the federal level is ending this June. You don't have any other grants in hand. It could be 3 years before you have the grants and everything approved to build the bridge, and now we want to review a crossing. Luckily, the money that we had been approved for at the state level is still all there for us, and their estimate of what they think this crossing would cost is still within the range that we have the cash on hand, separate from that $98,000 we already put for match. We've still got about another $30,000 in our accounts that we could use for match if need be. But they're estimating about $100,000 for the crossing, $75,000 to $100,000.
To paint some lines on the...
No, that's the thing.
crossing, light
I'm
crossing.
going to get
They're
there.
going to put a light?
One of the ones that
And
Chief is here.
Chief was here, and he can speak to some of that as well.
Stop
But
the traffic
what
light?
they were saying...
They would have to press it.
Push the button,
What they were
stop.
saying they would greatly prefer in this situation for safety is that with the volume of traffic there, which is huge, like 1,600 cars per hour or something,
Yep.
that they thought that a push-button crosswalk type light was what would be required to actually stop traffic for people crossing the road there. So they've asked us, didn't give us much choice. They basically said, you can't end the trail in the park. You have to have a place for people to go to get to the other part of the trail. So the only way we could really proceed is to have a crosswalk. So at this point, Department of Transportation has recommended a particular type, and we've got Quantum Engineering working on starting to do the necessary paperwork to get all the approvals to move forward with that. But there's a couple of pieces of that we need some more input from you folks, because after they cross Route 3, they're then on the sidewalk and they're headed right down here. So we really need input from the chief and your point of view so we can tell them what is preferred to then cross back over Route 3 to get onto Cannon Bridge. So there's obviously a couple of options. You've got a crosswalk right now, right here in front of Town Hall. It goes directly across to this side of the bridge right by the gas station. Or you can cross the road right here, that way, and then
Are they
cross the
requiring
road.
you to have a light there?
No. No, they said that because that's in the center of town and people are used to, whatever that means, having a lot of pedestrians, and because there's been established crosswalks there for a very long time, you wouldn't need the light. So, but they're asking which one is the preferred route to get people over to the Cannon Bridge. And then
People are going to use whichever one they want. You can use this one or the one right...
Right, but we have to have one that is designated.
Yeah, and we'll be putting up small little directional signs with an arrow that shows
Right,
which
right.
way to...
I'm glad to hear that, because I'm disappointed, number one, the bridge is not going up, because now that you're sending the traffic this way, that when the trail, as it exists now, they come along off Surratt Battery, come down Park Street Bridge, and then they come down Main Street on the sidewalks, which is not allowed.
Right.
And then they go right straight up Main Street. And it's a huge problem to us in the summertime.
Yeah, and we knew you didn't want that. We know the ordinance and everything. So the official alternate route, since we had to end the trail at Mayors, was to cross, be on the north side of Route 3, come down here, cross one of these two crossings, gets on Cannon Bridge, and then go down Elm Street on the Northfield side. So that would still be the route. But if you have a preference as to which one of these crossings, we can include that in this next piece of building, just for the purpose of putting up the signs. Because then, because it's Route 3, the state has to approve where we put the signs.
Either one of them, I think, is a dangerous crosswalk for them to be crossing over, because they don't pay attention to the pedestrians that do it now. How are they going to pay attention to bicyclists?
That's the first crosswalk we have coming into town. There isn't one up towards Cumbies anywhere.
Going across to the island, there is.
There's one.
But there's no sidewalk on the other side of the
Sidewalk on the
street.
other side.
Right.
Well, Dennis puts up those pedestrian cones.
No, it isn't curbed, there is no sidewalk. Most of that is driveway over there, entryway.
This is
I mean,
split
the curve in
here,
the road.
where that
I mean,
one's
the
not
whole
split.
road.
It's a clear, you have more of a
They just run them.
line of sight on the next one down here than you do here.
I think so. Plus, yeah, you're right.
It's a shorter walk.
Well, if you went on this side, though, then you don't have people having to cross back over Cannon Bridge, because they're already on this side of Cannon Bridge, and then they just sweep down Elm Street. If you took them on this side,
Right.
they'd have to cross over.
But you're
They go
also
straight
getting the
across.
pedestrians beyond what could be a cluster out here of traffic. This whole
Yeah.
intersection here of
But will the cyclists go down, go across, and then come back to Cannon Bridge?
We'll have to put up more no bicycles
Well-
on sidewalk signs.
But, I mean, that would be the fair, because if they go past here and they see the sidewalk and they say downtown, well, it's a short distance from here to there, now I gotta go back here, over Cannon Bridge, Elm Street.
The New Hampshire Department of Transportation is requiring you to spend $100,000 to put in a light so pedestrians can cross Route 3, and it's temporary.
The-
But it's going to become permanent. They're
Well,
not
we-
going to take it out.
We don't
Well,
know
well,
that.
if the bridge
What-
goes in. it-
What we've discussed,
You're going to spend $100,000, and then they're going to take it out when the bridge goes in.
what we discussed with them was that those same fixtures, at the point when we head the other direction to meet up with Belmont, we would need to cross Route 140. And they've talked with us for a very long time, that right by the railroad crossing there is where they would have us cross, and then we would need a light there with buttons.
So they would allow you to move them?
They would allow us to take this one and move it to there.
Well, that's
Not so
better.
bad.
Originally, they wanted them to build a
Bridge?
bridge.
That's what I was just sitting there thinking about, building the bridge over. You see it in the cities.
Really?
They did at one point tell us that's what they would want, but there are several groups doing rail trail work in other parts of the state that have even higher traffic counts than this. Down in Salem,
Oh,
near the Rockingham Mall, and that one, they are already approved to put in this type of a walk light. Where originally
It's busy
they were
down
talking
there.
about building a bridge over the top.
So how do these walk lights work? Do they work like the walk buttons here at Park Street?
Same thing.
The light, is that on the side of the road, or is there one that actually hangs over? So it'd be a light hanging over.
So it wouldn't be just an amber, it'd be a stop.
And the rest of the time it would be blinking yellow, or?
Now, the rest of the time, it doesn't do anything. Only when somebody pushes the button that it changes.
But then people can get out of the police station.
I was thinking it might be similar to the one that's in Belmont for the Belmont Fire Department, because that one blinks red.
That's right, too, it is.
It blinks when it's not
Blinks,
stop.
right.
It blinks. I'm not sure if it's red or yellow.
Do you have more information about
Wow,
whether it's blinking all
Yellow
the
and
time or
then
whether it's
turns red.
off?
I think so.
Until somebody pushes the button?
When they push it, it starts out blinking yellow, then it goes flashing red, then it goes to solid red, and then after 30 seconds, it goes back to flashing red, in case they're already through the crosswalk, so if a car wanted to stop and then go, it could. So,
But until somebody pushes the button, there's no light
nothing,
at all.
it's black
Right.
until someone pushes a button.
Interesting.
Makes sense.
That does make sense.
Well, this is what we wanted up on Riverfront Park, and they said no.
Yep.
Unless we wanted to
Then we
spend
asked for just for a
100,000.
plain crosswalk painted in the road. Nope. They said it gives pedestrians a false sense of security.
That's what they told us 6 months ago when we asked.
Crosswalk.
Yeah. I know it's
That's a false sense of security
I
right
know
there. You
it's a-
can't cross
But
the
yet they
driver.
want us to pick one that they're going to go across.
So, are they going to require a sign?
Which
on,
false
like,
sense of
down on
security would you
Park
like?
Street And on
Yes.
Route 3 in Franklin that says trail crossing ahead?
Yes.
Okay, so that would be before the light.
That's correct.
both sides.
Both sides, yeah. And Winnipesaukee River Association actually made signs that we got approval from them previously to mark any place where the trail goes onto roads. But we have to have an idea where we want to put those, because on Route 3, the state has to approve of them. The ones over on Elm Street, Northfield's already approved of those parts. But the ones here on Route 3, the state needs to approve of.
Has there
We
been,
maintain the sidewalk, so we would need to approve as well.
has there been any
It's a
thought
sidewalk
towards
machine.
continuing them down the railroad tracks behind the buildings and crossing more at the lights down there?
There's not enough room, unfortunately, we explored
Under the
that way
bridge?
back almost 12 years ago, to have come directly up the railroad right away from Park Street all the way around. And there's not enough room.
So back here, it's not enough room.
Too narrow, yeah. The total right-of-way is only about 10 feet on either side of the tracks.
You've got the bridge, too.
The stone, those walls.
You'd be into Cecile's bedroom.
Yeah, yeah.
She wouldn't approve of that.
Nope.
Crap, as the train was, Van
Depends.
Amtrak went through there with a double decker and touched one of those houses, it's so close.
Now,
Unbelievable.
is anyone from WRTA going to be at the meeting on the 15th on site?
Yes.
Okay.
That's the other piece that, I know that Catherine was at the meeting and Eliza, and I was a guest. We had a very nice conversation with the Conservation Commission here in Tilton to talk about some things that they were interested in, and they did suggest a small change on that part of the trail that goes around the swale. And I thought that was a very constructive discussion, that this pulls it away from the swale, which makes it less interesting for people to maybe want to go down into the swale. It also straightens the trail out so that when the parking area goes in, the little connector from the parking area to the main trail is shorter. And it also means that when people are walking, or especially if they're on a bicycle, there isn't a hairpin turn and a 90-degree turn. And for little kids, that's an important safety consideration. So we have already submitted that to the engineers and to Northfield, and they're working on that as they revise the plans.
Your Conservation Commission.
Yeah, that was it.
I just saw it.
I'm just wondering where, because I need to have Rip look at this to see if it's going, because this is, where does Ernie's come in here?
Well, this is all Ernie's right here.
This is all Ernie's here, to see how this is going to impact with where they're going to have groundwater monitoring wells and
Right.
things like that, so.
I did it on the bigger plan as well, and I think I avoided all of those,
Okay,
but we do have to have Rip check it.
yep, okay.
But we made sure that when we drew this line in, we avoided the underground sewer right-of-way that's right there.
Okay, that's on us, yes, okay. All right. So we can talk with Rip about that on
Yeah.
the 15th.
When do you hope to have it completed? I know it's an awful thing, but,
This section,
yeah.
as we understand it, if everything goes and gets approved at the state level, they have to give us final commitment before June 30th of this year. And then we would get the bid packages together, and that would mean we'd be under construction next summer. This one is a pretty quick construction,
Yeah.
not including the bridge. It's mostly move things around that are there, scrape up, put down new crushed bank run. The only part that takes any considerable work is where they have to do the new drainage swale and rebuild the railroad crossing across Knapp Road and put in that big culvert. That will take them longer than probably anything else.
Doesn't this take away from part of the Ernie's property, or Salmon Run property, with the trail coming in along there now?
Actually, I think it will accentuate it, more people will use it, because the trail will be running through it. It's going to run through kind of the northern part of it, the riverside of it. But that was always the agreement in purchasing the property, was to have the trail come through it. And, there's a partnership as far as maintaining that path. And the Conservation Commission is going to have the park itself. I mean, I shouldn't call it a park, you want it more of a naturalized area than green lawns.
Yeah, and this
And
will,
manicure.
and this will keep the people so that they'll
Yeah.
park in the parking lot and they'll have a trail to lead over to that area and
Plant
just...
lupins, we can have a lupin festival.
What do you need anything else from us, or?
Just to make sure we're clear as to what your preference is as to the crosswalk right out here. Because we will need to put
I think the
that-
shorter one is the
thinking
safest
the
route.
One
which
the
is
other
next
side of
one.
School Street?
That would be
Yes.
my pick.
You would cross over the street here, and then go directly across towards the laundromat.
Yeah.
That would be my preference, because you have a better line of sight. Here, it's very difficult to pass over, they just don't
Too much
see you.
confusion
There's
there.
too much confusion, because
Fountain's not in the way.
you have people coming from Cannon Bridge, you have people this way, and then you have the people going around the rotary, and you have the trough right there. So the line of sight is much clearer going up there.
We do, as Rick said, we do have little signs to put up, but there's been some talk of maybe putting our logo or something that reminds you of the trail actually painted on the sidewalk. And I don't know if that is something that you would consider doing, that might be easier to follow and not have to deal with the state and putting up signs.
I think that as long as it's, my opinion, only will ask the board the consensus, as long as it's neat and it's up, it's kept up,
Perfect idea.
I think it's fine with me.
Paints them.
I don't know, but I mean, that's...
Make a stencil and spray them.
Yeah, the stencil, you just go...
That's not until we get until the trail's built.
When would they put the cross down in front of Salmon Run there? Would that be before you start the trail, or is it after you're all done?
It would be part of that construction project, be at the same time.
Because if we put rocks or something along there, it'd be nice to know where they are, so that they can, things can be spaced right.
Probably
just
the
have to
next
go
3 weeks to a month, we'll have a definitive approval from the state as to where they want us to cross Route 3, and we'll make sure to coordinate back with you and the Conservation Commission, so
Excellent.
you know exactly where that is.
That would be important, because they're looking to do it soon.
Right.
Well, we could use
Giant rocks, so that it doesn't,
Unless you put giant erratic boulders there.
boulders,
So that was,
so kids can jump off
I
from
mean,
there.
so they contacted Northfield and the Trails Association and said we want to meet out there and see about
The way it actually happened was when we submitted all the things that Northfield signed to approve us to go forward with just a trail portion. That went back from Glenn Smith and Tom Jameson, Department of Transportation Trails Bureau. Tom then submitted it to his superiors, who said, oh, okay, we were kind of hoping for a bridge too. What happened to that? And at that point, they said, gee, if it's crossing Route 3, we got to send it back to Highway, because Highway has to look at anything that crosses a state highway. And at that point, Highway said, oh, okay, the bridge isn't going to happen for a while because the federal funding ended, and if you apply for another grant, that's for a different program and would be probably MAP 21, the first round of which isn't even till this fall. So the earliest we could possibly have money for a bridge would be about 2.5 years from now. So they said, with that kind of a time frame, we want a crossing.
well, we need some rich donors.
We've been looking for them. They're hiding.
So, thank you very much.
Wanted to
Yeah,
update you on
thanks.
what's
Thank you for coming.
happening.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
So we'll see you Wednesday on the 15th. at 1 o'clock.
We're going to be a tight schedule, because Terry's here now. How do we want to work it? How much stuff do you have?
Oh, very little, trust me. sit
Can we
with
take
the,
you right after Terry then?
Yep, yep.
All right.
Give you some brief updates.
Okay.
So I'll put it out there.
Sounds good. Okay, Terry Page, you're up. How are you?
I brought my projector just in case, but since it's just you guys, I'm gonna do it on my computer.
Okay.
That'll make it a lot easier, I think. I put in for a nice little one, but
For a computer?
I have my big tweaker.
Oh. That's because Cap's running out of money.
It's not that we're running out of money, it's finding the
Right source.
correct, and finding the match to be able to access the money that is available.
Listen to us, write down what he said.
Sorry for having to let that room off a little bit, but I have some goodies for you. And many of you guys have already heard this several times, so thank you for having me again. This is familiar? So, these are all resources for existing transportation in the area. This is a quick down and dirty. Across the top are providers of transportation, and down the side are towns. And this is for the existing volunteer driver programs that are in the area. So that's a quick little piece.
I'll take one as I give mine to Catherine. Every one you give me two. I'll give her one.
You got it.
Thank you.
Thanks for being my courier.
No problem.
And then we have volunteer, the enhanced volunteer driver program. I'll let you pass those out. You need extras, I brought extras.
I'm aware of this one.
And this is the other volunteer driver programs. And our resource directory. And the Microsoft Transit System. Woo-hoo! We have a bunch of these downstairs, but we're gonna get into those too. Oh, wait.
Does anyone volunteer driver?
So, Joe Jessman represents Tilton on the Mid-State RCC, so he knows a lot about it, and I'm here to talk to the rest of everybody about what the Mid-State RCC is, how they're created, what they do, and the transportation resources that are available for the area. So this is just an information session about what's out there, what's going on, some of the needs that have been assessed, some of the areas that need more transportation, and what we're striving to do to get that into place. So my name is Terry Page, for those of you I haven't formally met. Thank you for having me. I'm working with the Community Action Program for Belknap and Merrimack counties, and my position was funded through a grant that was applied for through the Mid-State RCC. And the Community Action Program is the organization of hire, because we have a lot of existing transportation resources already in place, so it makes sense. So, there we go. Basically, the federal government decided back around 2005 that there's a lot of transportation already existing across the country in different areas, particularly rural areas, but it wasn't very well coordinated. There's a lot of duplication, and there's a lot of funding silos. So they said, we want to do something to correct the situation. So all of you states, you have to have a state coordinating council that's going to take care of coordinating community transportation better. So in 2007, the state of New Hampshire legislature passed the RSA 239B, which established the state coordinating council for community transportation in the state. The council said, this is a state that has a lot of diversity, some urban, lots of rural. There's no way we can, as one entity, take care of the entire state for transportation. So we're going to have regional coordinating councils to work in each region, to do the coordination on the ground level, and then report back to us. So that was how the state coordinating councils were started and the RCCs were started, the regional coordinating councils. So in 2009, they established 10 regional coordinating councils, and those were based on hospital catchment areas because they knew that most of community transportation was focused around getting folks back and forth to medical appointments. So they set up 10 regional coordinating councils across the state. And they were tasked with implementing a regional coordinated plan for transportation and for doing the groundwork to figure out what the needs were and to report back to the SCC on their ongoing work. So Region 3 was designated to include all of Belknap and Merrimack counties. And then they decided Hooksett actually does more work with the southern tier of the state, so Hooksett is going to go with the southern part of the state, but you're going to take Deering and Hillsborough because Deering and Hillsborough work well with the the Central Regional Regional Planning Commission. I started at 6 o'clock this morning with this, so I'm getting a little loopy. So the regional planning commissions are all helping to coordinate the RCCs and to help them with figuring out plans and the needs assessment and all of that. So the Mid-State Regional Coordinating Council has both Central New Hampshire Regional Planning Commission and the Lakes Region Planning Commission working with us to do that work, to do the planning work and the needs assessment and all of that. So we picked up Deering and Hillsborough because they work a lot with Central Regional Planning Commission. So we have all of Belknap and Merrimack counties, plus Deering and Hillsborough minus Hooksett as the area that we're serving. And they changed it from Region 3 to Mid-State to kind of give it a better flavor than just saying Region 3 Regional Coordinating Council. So in 2010, Mid-State kicked itself off. We have a diverse group of folks who are part of the council. We have 16 signed MOUs right now, which are memorandums of understanding. Actually, I take that back. We have 17 because Catholic Charities just came on board as another one of the members. So we have select board members. Joe is one. We have users of the service that are members. We have service providers, transportation providers. We have social service providers. So there's a wide range of folks that are actually sitting on the council. And that's who works with, in this region, to deal with community transportation. The regional plan that was created did a great job of doing a needs assessment in 2010 of here's the existing transportation providers that are already in the region, here's where there aren't any providers, here's what's going on, here's what the needs are, how are we going to address that, and what does that look like? That's what the plan brought forward when we did it in 2010. So as part of the goals for the Mid-State, we did the MOUs. We have a mission statement to improve mobility and access for all by coordinating regional and local community transportation services and information. Pretty straightforward. And then we started implementing the suggestions in the regional plan. So one of the things that occurred that was clear right away is in those needs assessments, obviously, as we all know, there's limited transportation options across the rural areas. There are sparse public transportation services. The ones that do exist cover a lot, particularly up here, a very wide area. WTS goes all the way from Guilford down here to West Franklin and back, so there's a long geographic area that it covers. There's a need for greater coordination among transportation providers, and there's an increasing demand for long and short-term transportation. And that comes about with folks who are, one, aging across the state. There's more and more folks who are going to be aging out of being able to drive and provide their own transportation. And the transportation that they often need is specialized medical transportation, which is a long distance away. It could be Manchester, it could be Boston, it could be Lebanon. Folks are traveling long distances to be able to get to those medical appointments. The other piece that was pretty clear is the vast majority of the mid-state region is a low-density population area. So even if we had the funds to be able to do another fixed route system in some of the areas that need transportation, there's not the population density to support it. We wouldn't have enough riders on it to be able to support the system. So where does that leave us? we have areas that need transportation. It's not viable to put a public transportation system in. So the clear choice that came out was demand response systems, like small buses, like the rural transportation program for seniors that is currently in place, and the volunteer driver programs that are already happening, that you guys already had here with Caring Hands across Tilton, and those little pockets of those providers all across the state are really what's making those connections for folks right now. And it's working, so how can we make that work better? And what else can we do to augment that? You know, where else can we supplement stuff in? Can we have a more robust service for the existing public transportation systems? Yes, and that would help. And what else are we going to do to make it work? So we set out saying, okay, that's where it all started. What are we going to do from here? Where are we going to go? So the first year, we said, we know there's existing transportation resources. People keep saying there aren't. We need to get the word out that there are. So we did this resource directory. So I'm tasked with every month going through this and making sure it's updated. There aren't any, every time I hear of a new provider, it goes in here. It's on the website so that folks can get it on time, online, real time. I have these paper copies out for folks to be able to access it if they need it. So that's one way that we said we're going to try to get people connected. We're going to let them know where the existing transportation services are. That went into effect immediately. And then we said the existing providers need to be talking to each other, and we need to have some shared resources there. We need to do some cross referrals, that, you know, find out what they need, what their needs are, what we could assist with. You know, do they need training? Do they need resources? What does that look like? So we pulled together a meeting of all of the volunteer drivers that were programs that were already in existence to say, do you guys want to talk more? What does that look like? What are your needs? And out of that first meeting came the statement from pretty much everybody that attended that has set a series of policies and procedures around what's expected of drivers, what would be a good procedure to hire drivers or to have drivers come on board, background checks, that kind of stuff. So the group created a set of policies and procedures for drivers and what that looks like, and for background checks and how to, you know, how to set boundaries with customers, you know, what the parameters for rides are going to be, all of that stuff that is all set. So people can access it if they want to, they can use it if they want to, they can use it in their own systems, tweak it, use it however they want. And that's been a really good resource for several providers in the region to be able to do that. And the result of those meetings is we have a lot better cross-referral going on now, so that if there's a ride that one provider can't make, they know they may be able to call somebody else and see if they can do that ride. And that's been working out fairly well for some of the providers I've heard. So, the second thing they said is, all right, we know that these places are all, the ones that are in existence, we still have these gaps. What are we going to do about that? And what are we going to do about the long distance trips that many of the existing providers can't do? So we looked into what there was available for funding, and there was 5310 funding, which is for seniors and people with disabilities to be able to provide, you know, additional transportation. The Mid-State RCC applied for it using Central New Hampshire Regional Planning Commission as the fiscal agent to put in place an enhanced volunteer driver program, which is the EDP program that is this blue and this one here. It's housed in the Community Action Program and is to fill those gaps where there's not already a provider. And that's a big piece, is we're not sliding into anybody else's territory, we're not stepping on anybody else's toes, it's strictly to fill those gap areas where there's not an existing provider. And to be able to make some of those long distance trips that other providers can't, potentially. So that went into effect in 2010, And we...
Been that long?
It's been that long, it's been 2 years, yeah. So it actually launched in 2011. We just started the planning process in 2010, got the funding and actually started the program in early 2011. And the really cool thing is, in just that short amount of time, in March, we did our 10,000th ride in just 2 years, which is pretty amazing, so.
10,000, right?
Yeah, we've provided over 10,000 rides now. It's been another couple of months.
Sure.
In fact, last month, we had 695 rides for the month, which is great. So that was clearly very successful. So we said, now what are we going to do? That worked. What else is out there? And this piece of getting out there and telling people what's going on, making those connections, making the network connections, doing some coordination, was clearly a need. Beyond just the resource guide, folks need to know what's going on. And we need to be at meetings, we need to be at coordination events, all that stuff. So in the next year, 2013, we applied for another 5310, not me, because I wasn't on board yet. They applied for another 5310 grant that provided the funding for my position and to explore some other options in terms of additional programming. Like, would it be reasonable to think that another VDP program could also access these funds to expand their existing program? Is that something they'd be interested in doing? What about a taxi voucher program? Is that something that could fly here? Is that something that's going to be really useful? We think yes, because medical appointments and medical needs don't stop after 5 o'clock. To be able to find a provider that can do those rides after 5 is not going to happen, because you want to have somebody safe for a driver to refer back to. So taxi voucher program made sense. Can we put that into effect to make that happen? So that's what we're doing moving forward. For me, I'm here, I'm established, I'm out doing this, letting people know what's going on, doing some needs assessments along the way. We meet monthly so that everybody's in tune with what's going on and what's happening. I attend the SEC meetings, the transit meetings, the RPC meetings. I'm at all of those so that I know I have a pulse of what's going on and bring all that information back. And we're doing another needs assessment this fall to say, okay, this is where we were, where are we going now, what are the next needs that we want to do. So we want to do a series of meet and greet talking sessions with the community to say, what's going on, what do you need, what are your needs, how do we meet those needs. So, down and dirty, I know you guys don't have a lot of time, that's pretty much what it's all about. And I have all these resources, I assume you guys don't need these, but I brought them anyway, just to make sure. If you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them. All my information is out here. If you want to give me a call at any time, I have some cards if you'd like me to read those too, but you guys all know how to contact me, so.
Except John Scanlon, he's our new selectman. This is,
Hi, John.
I think
We're
we've
familiar
been
with
to
them.
the budget meeting.
Yeah.
Yeah, so,
he's now on the
Did you
dark
check
side,
us
we
the
call it.
bus schedules down?
I did, on the way up through,
Thank
I was
you.
like, yep, there's a pile of them there, so
Thank you, yeah,
I was
because I
happy to
put
see
them
them.
upstairs.
it was interesting, I've family members disabled that is independently living and needed to get to a doctor's appointment in Guilford.
Yep.
Asked the doctor's office, and they said they have no idea
That
And
is an area that needs
that
a
the
lot.
doctor's office, well, we don't know what you can do, you just have to be here.
Yep.
This is, and, it would be important to get the doctor's offices or some of the medical buildings
Yep.
to say, hey,
Absolutely, and I've
Coordinate
been
this.
pounding on the door for Concord Hospital and for Lakes Region General Hospital since I started as mobility manager, actually, back several years ago, because particularly discharge folks, that's a real issue. They're releasing people with no rides home, with no way to get home, and setting up appointments. Whenever I get a chance to talk to a doctor's office or some sort of a medical facility, I always say it would be great if one of your first questions when somebody calls for an appointment is to say, how are you getting here? Or oftentimes they're not calling for appointments, it's ongoing care stuff, and they're setting those appointments without even talking to the person, like you said.
Yeah.
So that could be
be
a first question.
coordinated better for,
How are you going to get here? What, do you have ride resources? And what those, so that the conversation can then start to see if they can get something in place for it.
It's interesting when the chat committee was established in 2009, we took the brochures over to the doctor's offices right here in Tilton, and library and different different stores and establishments. And we let them know that who we were, what we did, and yet they still said to the seniors and disabled that they had no idea.
Yep.
And they had
that's-
absolutely no idea.
And the thing that's really difficult sometimes is often there's a lot of turnover of staff in those positions. So you just, like, I did get in to see Concord Regional Hospital, one set of discharge planners, and I swear within 3 months I had new people call, those people that I had actually met, I met with like 20 of them in a monthly meeting that they had. There was like 6 of them left.
Yep.
They had all, the position had all turned over, so it's like one of those constant things. But I do have another meeting coming up with, they have now at Concord, and I'm going to explore to see if they have this up in the Lakes region as well. They now have care managers that will follow high-risk patients through the process, and their task is to find resources like this for that person. And I'm meeting with that group, that it's a newly formed, I guess, service that Concord Hospital is doing. And I'm meeting with them next month, the end of this month. So that's really encouraging. If they do have folks that will be assigned like that for those particular patient populations, at least it's somebody within the hospital that has that resource. So,
How does the recruiting work for getting drivers? Is that working out for you, or?
we always need more drivers. We have one set husband and wife team here in Tilton that are doing a fabulous job for us. They do a lot of work for us in the area. They do both Franklin and Tilton. We have 4 regular customers here in Tilton that ride with us regularly. And the deal that we have with Caring Hands across Tilton is if we can't find a ride for them, we call Caring Hands so that they can fill in to make that ride happen for somebody so that nobody gets left behind, particularly here for Tilton. That's what Caring Hands decided they wanted to do with us. Our typical way is we usually do a referral first to an existing volunteer driver program, and then if they can't provide it, they come back to us.
Most of our drivers became part of the volunteer driver program.
Yep.
So it's,
It works out really well.
it works out excellent for us because they're familiar with the people in Tilton, but they also expand to other towns.
Yes.
So that's what's important. But Chat only takes care of the people in Tilton. What we didn't want was them to fall through the cracks. And so last week was the first time in months, that we actually got a call, and there were 2 people that they couldn't find a ride because it was last minute. One to Guilford and one to Laconia. And we found a ride for them immediately, and it was simple, but we didn't want them to fall through the cracks. And we met new people, again, 380 West Main Street, and that really needs to happen down there. Something,
And the other
more
piece-
transportation.
The other piece that's really working out well with the volunteer, the better coordination is being able to combine resources. So we use, particularly for like dialysis patients, it's not just a trip to the dialysis unit, it's then waiting 3 hours while the person has their
Sure,
treatments
that's
and
it.
then having to come back, and that's a long wait for
Right.
anybody. So we've been able to partner with both the senior bus, which works here in front of the trip center that runs through Tilton here, and the Belmont bus, which also comes up through for seniors. And then we have the Winnipesaukee Transit System, which is the public route that comes down through. So sometimes a person is able to get on the bus to get to the appointment, and then a volunteer driver will pick them up and bring them back, or vice versa. Maybe a volunteer driver can get them there, and then they'll get on the bus and get back. So we're able to help
Yeah,
coordinate that.
that's great having all that coordinated.
Right.
It must have been
To
very
be able to use
difficult
the
before.
resources that are there, yeah. Yeah. So that's the whole goal of what we're shooting for.
Wonderful.
So for those who are listening on the camera, she's looking for volunteers.
I am looking for volunteers, yes. Call Susan Jutras, right here, 225-3295. She'd be happy to hook you up. Yes. Thank you very much, you guys. If you have any questions, feel free to contact me at any time.
Thank you, Terry, I
Come.
appreciate it.
see the to-be-signed folder for a moment?
Joyce is coming. There's going to be...
I haven't signed that. I started reading it, but I haven't signed it.
Okay.
Just saying.
I thought some of that sounded kind of frightening.
Some of this sounded frightening?
Any of that yet?
The one that wasn't going to file their deed?
Yeah.
Never occurred to me that people would do that.
I need to forward it. Just take a minute, hold on. Do you have your tablet with you, John?
Yes.
Take a look at the email, please. Catherine, take a look. I'm thinking that we should possibly take a 2-minute break. I need to find out some answers. And then figure out where we're going to go from there. How many minutes do you, what do you?
If there's no questions, 5.
Tape Catherine's mouth, please.
All right, then we're going to,
I
we're
don't
going
know if I can
to,
do that.
That's what I'm saying.
No
Where's-
questions.
where's the gavel?
So you want to go ahead and break, and I'll...
No, what we'll do is we'll take you
Yep.
first, and then I need to take we need to
Yep.
get some answers first.
Okay. All right, I just want to bring your attention into the to-be-signed folder that we need to have the, borrow some more money, $400,000 TAN. So the only signature I'm missing is John on this. Have you gone through the folder yet?
No, I have not.
Okay, I'll pass it down to you in 1 second. And also, the land use change tax that Lauren is referencing in her letter, I thought she was going to have that to me for tonight. Catherine, you haven't received anything from Lauren? Okay, then she'll be here next week. It's her regular assessing contract day.
The form for that particular one isn't in there,
Right,
the 550.
right, because she has to get the original application, because on the penalty, she's got to put in all the map and lot numbers and recalculate the acres, so we'll have that next week. And then there are a number, as you know, as part of our assessment review, we're updating all the elderly exemptions, and there, let's see, 5 exemptions and credits that you'll need to review her recommendation and sign if you approve her recommendation.
I've got to read that one a little more thoroughly.
And then I just wanted to draw your attention to Tim's finance report, where I think he's kept you all in the loop. It's been a crazy couple of days with our server being down, but we're back up and running. He's got an excellent plan in place to correct it, and I...
Thank you, Tim,
Yeah,
for all the
Excellent
hard
job.
work.
didn't lose any information. at
Any,
least
no
now.
information, excellent, wonderful.
Nice job.
And he handled it very well. I don't know if I could have handled it as well as he did. Okay, I haven't heard back from DES yet on the best management practices for the Japanese knotweed. As soon as I do, I'll let you know.
There's a fellow at,
Cooperative Extension,
no, I think it's
Concert.
Department of Agriculture,
Department of Agriculture.
the herbicide. You can't hand pull it.
Oh, you can't?
Those roots sometimes go up to 15 feet deep. And laterally, they can go, yeah, you don't hand pull Japanese knotweed.
Okay.
You have to herbicide it.
It is.
No, it'd be
It's
major
visible.
excavation, yeah, you have to
And
herbicide it.
every piece that
But
breaks
where
off...
it's right next to the brook, although it's private property, that's an issue. Send you,
Okay, I was able, while you're looking for that, to go out on Monday and take some photographs of the root ball. You didn't go with us last Thursday night, did you? But Pat and Catherine and John were there. And I hope I copied you on the email of the pictures that I took?
Yes, I saw.
Okay. Which I thought I did a pretty good job, I felt.
Good idea.
And
And he wrote back and said that we do not need a permit to remove the tree or its root mass, since the root mass is already dislodged from the bank. And he also said, I did include a picture of that other tree that's a little further up.
Yep.
That is going to end up like
Good,
this
yeah.
one someday. And he said you should consider cutting and removing that tree in the background in the top picture, but leaving its root mass before it too dislodges the root mass. No permit needed there either. So my question from the Board of Selectmen is, since we can get to this from our property, would you like me to obtain some estimates for removal? Doesn't cost anything to get an estimate.
I think it's worth it.
Yeah, we can maintain it.
What do you
It's
think?
nothing, yeah, get some estimates. Did Dennis look at it at all? And
He did, and
part of it?
I will ask him again, but his first reaction when he saw it, he says, we're not equipped to.
Yeah, if the tree was removed, could he pull the root ball out, or if they pull the root ball out?
We might, I can't talk, we might want to make contact with the neighbor to see
Yes.
if they would allow that to take place. Because if they won't, it's almost mute.
Yep.
They'd have to transverse that building.
And then the other thing I wanted to ask the board is, I have not contacted Attorney Zimmerman yet to let her know what we were doing. Is it okay if I give her a call and just fill her in on what we're exploring? We haven't committed to do anything, but we're exploring.
I think our original stance that it's not our brook. Or are you talking
Right, we should-
specifically about just the tree?
The tree, because in their most recent letter, they're saying that, they said, please advise what the town intends to do about this condition. If you want
I'd
to
rather just send her a letter.
send her a letter, okay. Just
Don't you think?
Yeah,
just reiterating that we're not, yeah.
Convoluted. Just a very simple letter saying that we are investigating.
and we've contacted DES.
And basically what I had reported to the board last week, that we don't own the river, or the brook, it's the abutters that own and it's,
Yes, owns the water.
and that these are the best management practices, and we're exploring with DES what's the best way for that tree to be removed. Not saying who's removing it, but, and also, I'll find out who owns the property further up. Okay. I haven't had a chance to write the letter yet to the gentleman about revising the agreement, the gentleman that was here last week, so that's still, the intent to cut, where we stand with that is he does come in every day and meet with Dari, but...
Didn't come in today, so.
Oh, he didn't come in today?
No, he took a break.
Okay. He did receive his complete forestry notification, and then in talking with the chairman of the planning board, she asked me and Dari to query legal, New Hampshire Municipal Association. The Jesse Bouchard, who's the New Hampshire DRA timber appraiser, gave me a copy of RSA 674:16, and I'll send this email to you, which it raised a lot of questions in Dari, in my minds, is logging operations considered site plan before the planning board? But basically what this other law states, it came into effect in July 15th of 2011. It says, in general, the planning board may be given such powers by the municipality as may be necessary to enable to fulfill its functions, promote municipal planning, or carry out the purpose of this title. And then this is what was added, bolded. Such powers shall not include regulating timber harvesting operations that are not part of a subdivision application or a development project subject to site plan review under this chapter. So here we have our town ordinance saying that we do regulate it if it's not part of a site plan, and you have state law which says it does. So the question to municipal is, does the state's law trump our more restrictive law? That's the question.
I thought it couldn't.
No, we can be more restrictive,
That's what
we
I
just
thought.
can't be more lenient.
Right, but that's what I wanted, because the reason this law was passed is because,
But we are not requiring him to go through a site plan review process.
well, it's a minor conditional use permit. Oh, I know, I agree, he isn't. But
Because
even
in our wetlands ordinance, it specifically says for agriculture and timber operations,
Yes, they still have to get a
they get a
conditional,
minor.
yes. It's a minor review
There is
procedure.
not a site plan review process attached to it.
Right, it says, well, and it says procedure if subdivision or site plan approval is not required, and then it says procedure for minor conditional use permits, which says that agriculture and logging operations do have to seek this minor conditional use permit. So I will forward you, thank you. Do you need the back of this for now? Okay. What we sent, and as soon as we get the response back from them, just to make sure we're clear. The franchise agreement I spoke to, Maura Campbell, and told her the board held the public hearing, that we still needed clarifications on some of the sections in the document, and she explained all of that. The INET buildings will be, of the police station, the town hall, that will be in a separate side letter. But we have to formally request it. This is the $10,000 to help pay for that build-out. So I asked Tim if he would help me write that letter, but he's been kind of tied up. So she knows it's coming. And so you will be receiving a letter formally requesting the build-out of the INET service at the police station and the town hall with a description of what is proposed. We'll attach the quotations, and it's our understanding that MetroCast will bring the fiber to the site, and they will be paying the vendors. So they're not just going to give us a check. They'll be right there with bringing the fiber in and paying the vendors, so we're finally moving forward on that. The other item that I was able to make some progress on is we had 3 bidders so far participate in the walkthrough at the site. I did get a call from another gentleman, and I'm waiting for him to call me back. I did put in because it's such a short window to do the site visit and prepare your bid and submit it, they're due next Thursday, that if they needed to arrange another time to call me. So I'm just waiting to hear back from him. If we can get him in there tomorrow, then we would have 4.
Get any insurance?
One so far has insurance that I know of. He specifically went and got insurance. But when I spoke with our insurance company, they understand that municipalities have unique responsibilities. Like, we're the only entity that would be doing tax deeds and selling tax deeded property. One of the examples she had cited how many towns have to hire people to trap beavers, and these individuals don't carry insurance for that. So there is a form that the Property Liability Trust and Workers' Comp has provided us, that basically the contractor is signing a statement saying that they are an independent contractor, and they understand that they could go get workers' comp insurance or property liability insurance, but they are choosing not to because they are an independent contractor. And there's also a clause in there saying they will hold the town not liable for anything. So if the board would approve, once you look through the bidders, that if there is someone there that you do think is qualified to do the job, and they don't have insurance, and they all said they'd be more than happy to sign the waiver.
But you go one with insurance.
I do have one with insurance.
So it waives them both from workman's comp and liability.
And liability. That will protect us from the Department of Labor in case if there's a workers' comp claim, and it protects the town with our insurance that when they do our annual audit, by having that letter on file, they will not include that dollar amount that we paid in our wages, which calculates our premium.
And there's no loopholes for them to go through.
No, this is what they're recommending for
Either
towns.
a contractor or not. Right.
Do we
There's
need to
no-
write up a document that they understand that we, don't guarantee the floors and whatnot? I mean, if something happens, that
We can put that in our contract.
I meant
decide to walk
to,
out the back door and keep on going.
I'd rather be really thorough than,
yeah, I'm still working on the contract.
On one of the floors downstairs, in the basement where the appliances are.
I thought I had brought one of those copies, but
Oh, no, it was not spongy anymore, there isn't any.
Oh, okay.
I'll email you all a copy of what they sent me.
And that was from the insurance?
From our insurance, yeah. And I haven't had a chance to follow up on that removal of hazardous tree yet.
Oh, on River Road? I mean,
Yeah.
Silver Lake?
Yep,
Is it River Road or Silver Lake?
Silver Lake.
Silver Lake, and you gave me the name, and I
There's a lot of
know
them.
who it is. I
worth
do
you.
want to go down there and just take a look at
There's
it.
a lot of them. That area gets flooded for a long time in the spring.
Yep.
And if we have a lot of rains in the fall.
And I know we're behind, so that'll be it for me, unless you have anything.
Should stay all night.
We'll stay on that. Thank you.
Okay.
Oops, so are you finished with this?
Yes.
We have been asked late this afternoon to change our agenda around a little bit. A lot. And it's a disservice to the others that are in the public that would like to hear what else is going on. But at this time, I would, going to make a motion to enter into non-public. The selectmen at this time would like a 10-minute non-public with just the selectmen and our staff. And then I'll invite you all back up. I'm sorry, not the press. Thank you. I think those that Melissa has designated, deemed in the meeting. So I'll make a motion that we enter into non-public session as per RSA 91A:3, and this will be personnel matter. Roll call vote?
Aye, yes.
Yes.
A reputation exception, which is C.
Motion to seal the minutes of the non-public session permanently as it pertained to personnel issues.
Roll call vote?
Yes.
Yes. I make a motion to enter into
Let's have all of them here.
So,
Okay.
without like Alan and Jen and all those people, I mean, they're not bound to any confidential.
they're not going to get in this room.
Then you say unless they're
Jennifer
bound by the, oh, no, we can't say that because the other one's not. we're on
Jennifer
tape.
Adams is a police officer in Northfield.
Right.
But she's not a chief. You
No,
asked that
they're-
she meet with the chiefs. She said, can I bring the chiefs?
That's all.
Well, why did Chief Rafley bring her?
Right.
Must be a reason. She's a sworn officer. She's sworn under the same oath as the chiefs.
But we were asked to meet with the chiefs, with the
Why don't you
county
go-
attorney.
Why not?
Brought the chief, and
Okay.
she did mention sheriffs.
Why don't we query John Rafley as to why?
I'll query Melissa Del Branson.
Well, there you go.
You want to ask her to say, you know, this meeting was supposed to be for her.
Can you read it?
Well, no, I think I have the gist of it. So that information, yeah, I read that in the paper, and
Toot you
I got more
started.
detail.
I want you to hear yesterday.
more-
Anybody get that article that John's talking about?
I read it at 6 o'clock in the morning while I drove the car on the highway.
Did you hear this?
It was before 6, it was
Jesus, your eyes must
5:15 in the morning.
Jesus, you must have been wide awake after you read that.
It was a thriller. I got more information out of that than I knew.
Well, me too. I'm in the same boat you are. Well, sort of.
I'm not.
I get information from Tommy and other people, but the detail in that one was like, okay, if I'm a selectman of the town of Tilton and I don't know this, how can a reporter for the Sun know this?
So we're just waiting for Brad to come back, cameras rolling,
Yeah, I'm gonna sit here and be,
nonchalant.
yeah.
be some concern with me and the other area chiefs. It's
So much for that short night.
So,
Be quiet.
we're in public,
Yeah.
camera's rolling.
Yes, it is.
I want to make a motion that we don't have any more speakers.
Are you serious now, Catherine? Or are you
I am,
just-
well, we can talk with Pat, we'll be nice and talk with Pat. So let's withdraw the motion. And Terry Page is one smart woman. I'll tell you, if I was in business, I'd want her working for me. I've seen her in action, I've been to different types of meetings and she spoke, and she is formidable, and I'll tell you, intelligent, but
Just give us...
we could have gotten written information.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right, man.
This here is a North Carolina, I said, will you ask for the chief, so he's going to excuse. And then everyone's coming up.
So who's coming in?
Nope. I came out of non-public for the reason that didn't feel we were into non-public for the right reason at the time. So I will make a motion to enter into non-public as per RSA 91A, colon 3, I'll just get somewhere here. 1, 2,
Reputation.
matters which, if discussed in public, would likely adversely affect the reputation of any person other than the member of the public body itself. All right, Catherine, you got that? Do I have a second?
Second.
Roll call vote?
Yes.
Yes. All right.
You're right.
Are we adjourning?
Make a motion to seal the minutes of the non-public as they pertain to reputation, adversely affecting the reputation permanently.
Second.
All those in favor?
Yes.
Yes.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor?
Non-debatable.